And welcome, ladies and gents. We're going to go ahead and do lesson 4.3, adding integers. Let's first go ahead and take a look at our homework. This is assignment number 29, page 93. Go ahead and pause for a moment. Come on back when you're ready. Hopefully, if we get some time, you can ask me some questions. I'm especially curious to see how you did on this. As for today, our focus, our objective. Today you should leave this video and the assignment saying, I will and I know how to add integers. So think about where we've been. We've done expressions and equations with positive whole numbers. We've done it with decimals. Now it's time to get to positives and negatives, also that we can eventually get to 1 and 2 and multi-step equations with negative numbers. Go ahead and pause right now, title your paper, come on back when you're ready for some examples. All right, as we go through today, I do believe you guys have already had some experience with adding and subtracting integers, perhaps even multiplying and dividing. My key question for all of today is, are the signs the same or different? Now, if this is how you want to think about it, if you've ever heard the economic or business expressions in the red or in the black, in the red means negative. It means you owe money. So if I were to see -8, I could simply bring down 8 red dots. And now I'm going to go ahead and add 7 in the black. Even the term Black Friday after Thanksgiving comes from the fact that businesses counted their money in the red and in the black. And of course, everybody wanted to be in the black. That means they had positive money. Nobody wanted to be in the red. Now, at this point, I really want you to understand what happens when you add a -1 and a +1. We call those zero pairs. Think about it. Take 1 step forward and 1 step backward, and you're back at 0. If you have $1 and then you lose $1, that also puts you at 0. Some people circle zero pairs, some people cancel them out. But if you notice, if you go backwards or down 8 and then you go up 7, you are still in the negatives. And in this case, you end up at -1. Keep that question in mind. Are the signs the same or different? This is a way of modeling it with, you could either do these red and black dots. You could also, I've seen some folks use minus symbols and plus symbols. In fact, there's even a lesson in the book that talks about an atom with electrons and protons, each having a positive or a negative charge. I also want you to see it with the number line, whether you go vertically, whether you go horizontally. Vertically is oftentimes what I will do because I often think about swimming. -8 goes down, or in this case, I should have used the red to keep that pattern. -8 goes down or to the left. And then naturally +7 would go to the right, or you could say up. And then the question remains, where are we at? Now, in this case, you can see the zero pairs by pointing out, well, 1 step forward, 1 step backward. Actually, it's more like 7 steps forward and backward. And where do we end up? It's going to be the same answer, naturally, because it's the same problem, -1. So now I've shown you pretty much 3 different models. I've shown you the plus minuses, or the red and black dots. And you can see zero pairs that way. I've shown you vertical number lines going up and down, and I've shown you horizontal number lines going left and right. If at any time I ask you to draw me a model, you should be able to do it, or I'm not really convinced you understand the mathematics. You've heard me say that before with equations. So let's do a few more problems, shall we? Let's go ahead with -5 and a -4. If you were to use the red dots, or I'll use minus symbols here, -5, -4. Remember that key question. Are they the same sign or different sign? Meanwhile, starting at 0, -5 will go to the left. I oftentimes try to put that dot right above the arrow. And then -4. -4 also decreases. Add a -4. I don't care if you add. If you add debt, I'm not happy about that. My amount of money is decreasing. Now, either way, you will notice if you look at my minus symbols, there are no zero pairs. There's nothing that crosses off. If you have if you owe $1 and then you owe $1, that does not make zero. It actually means you owe $2. Final answer here is going to be -9. You can see it on the number line. You can see it with my minus symbols. If you use the black and red dots, actually there would be no black dots. I'll show you another couple. -1, +9. Again, you can use the black dots for the pluses. Are there any zero pairs that cancel out? Oh, I see one. Or on a number line, -1 goes to the left. +9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 goes to the right. So where are we on the number line? Where are we? What do we have remaining with the stars? You guessed it. It's going to be +8. -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives, and then we add, what does this mean? You're adding debt. That's not so good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wake up, Mr. Callan. Try to line these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Or on a number line, -5 goes to the left. -9 goes off the graph. Okay, but are there zero pairs? No, there are no zero pairs. So we can see with the number line, we're going to put 5 steps together with 9 steps. We can see with the pluses and minuses. You're going to put 5 with 9. And of course, remembering that you're adding debt, or if you're thinking about swimming, -5 goes down, then you're adding another dive. So we are clearly below water here to make -14. How about 15? Now, I'm not going to sit here and draw out 15 plus signs. So I'll draw a dot, dot, dot. How about then adding a -21? Well, we're adding debt. Now, I'm not going to sit here and draw 21, but at least I'll show that there's more minus symbols than positive symbols. On a number line, 15 goes way off the graph. -21 comes back, and then I wonder how far else it would go. Here's the point. There are going to be zero pairs where all the positives will cancel out, which means my answer definitely is going to be negative, but how much negative? In this case, final answer will be a -6. You can see on the number line, there's going to be zero pairs. So maybe you went off to the side and you just, or mentally you said, okay, if all the 15 disappears, what is left? I want you to think about these problems for a little bit. And I want you to try to come up with your own rules. Look on the left side, what patterns do you see? Look on the right side, what patterns do you see? In fact, I would encourage you to pause for a second and think, how are these problems similar? How are they different? How are the problems on the left similar? How are the problems on the right similar? And see if you can come up with your own rule. Come on back when you are ready. If you notice, first problem has a negative and a positive. Second problem has a negative and a positive. Third problem has a negative and a positive. Not necessarily in that order. That would be a difference. But then look what happens to the absolute values. 9 and 1, and we get to 8. 8 and 7, and we get to 1. 21 and 15, and we get to 6. Perhaps you notice that each of these are going to have zero pairs that cancel out. Furthermore, you may have noticed that we are farther underwater, and our sign is negative. We are farther above water. We climbed out of the water, up the ladder, and our sign is positive. We are farther below water, and our sign is negative. So think about that. Now go to the other side. I see a negative and a negative. I see a negative and a negative. That's interesting. So think about -5 and then -4. There are no zero pairs that cancel out. Look what happens with the absolute values. 5, 4, we get to 9. 5, 9, we get to 14. Oh, and by the way, we are deeper underwater, or we are deeper in debt. So that sign did not suddenly or magically turn positive. So basically, I'm going to review something that I hope you already know, but you know me, I'm not a big fan of shortcuts anyways. If it's the same sign, for instance, negative $20, and then you owe me another $10, well, you are still owing money, but you're going to take the sum of the absolute values. You owe me 20, you owe me 10, you owe me 30 now. If they are different signs, you start out in debt, but then you add or deposit or increase some money. Well, we do need to keep the sign of the greater absolute value. After all, you owed more money than you gained, but we're closer to zero at least. We're not deeper in debt. We're closer to getting out of debt and into the black, as businesses put it. I'm not a big fan of shortcuts. I really want you guys to have this basic number sense and computation skill. If you need to write that down, go ahead and pause and go for it. Let's actually take some time to see how those rules work. -9, -4, deeper in debt, and it's going to end up being -13. Let's keep on going down. +5, -1, I'm going to picture that zero pair, which means we still have positives left over. I know you don't have to write the plus sign, but I'm going to, for an answer of +4. Meanwhile, -9, -15, I dive down 9, I dive down 15, I am deeper underwater at -24. Number 4, they are different signs. So again, I'm picturing that zero pair, definitely still in debt, but not as far in debt, only -$7. -6 goes down, +5 goes up. Yep, there's definitely some zero pairs, but I'm further underwater, so I keep the sign of the larger absolute value. We're just not very far underwater. And speaking of zero pairs, for number 6, -7, +11, definitely some zero pairs here. With the sign of the greater absolute value, there are some positives left over. And how many are left over? That would be 4. Again, you don't have to write that plus sign if you don't need to. Now go ahead and pause. If you need to, go back to the previous screen, but pause right now, do a few problems, mentally write it on scratch paper, put it somewhere on your paper, and come on back when you are ready for me to reveal the answers. So number 1, -5, different signs. Number 2 also, well, also negative, but it's deeper underwater at -8. Number 3 is also getting deeper underwater at -6. Let's talk money. $8, -$1. You still have money, but it's only +7. Number 5, -26 plus 5, still in debt, but only at -21. And number 6, -7 plus -11, -18. This went a little longer than I was hoping to, folks, but I hope you already have some of that number sense. I hope you are also comfortable fast forwarding where you could. Let's go ahead and begin the assignment. Please, if you remember, man, I know I'm still needing to collect this data. Mine was only 9 minutes. Let's find out how long it takes you guys to complete these problems. 6 to 30 evens, 31 to 49 all from page 97. Take your time and do well, folks. We'll see you soon.